Hi team, greetings from Leesburg, Virginia in the USA. I've been here with my family for the past 3 weeks. I came for the live event to audit for the 5th time in the John Maxwell team. And after the training, we stayed behind with my family. We've been just exploring the US and traveling. So we've been to Orlando. And then from Orlando, we went to Stanton, where my daughter is doing high school. And then from there, we visited a friend who is in Hartford, in Connecticut. And finally, we came back here in Leesburg. And this is quite a challenging time for me because I'm traveling and I'm still trying to create time with family. And I still needed to get this recording done out for you. So that's what I've been just working on so that I can get it out. I'm honored to be able to lead you today into this, the 5th law of the 15 variable laws of growth. And this is following up after my colleague Nagib talked to you about the law of reflection in the previous week. And the law that I'm going to talk about today, which is the law of consistency, I think is one of the most challenging laws, at least for me. And I also know that for other people, because my clients also struggle with doing, with being consistent in what they are doing. So let me just dive into this law. The law of consistency just says that motivation is gonna get you going, but it is discipline that will keep you growing. So motivation is going to get you going, but discipline is what is going to keep you growing. And before I just explain this law, I just want to drive you back to the previous week when Nagib was talking to us about the law of reflection, because these two laws tie in very well. And this is where the law of reflection comes in, because you know that in the law of reflection, you need to pause. You need to actually pause. And it is through this pausing that you are able to reflect, that you are able to introspect, that you are able to investigate, that you are able to ask yourself questions. And I'm saying that these two tie very well because you are going to look at, when you talk about consistency, you are going to, and for you, in order to grow, you are going to have to be able to ask yourself questions that, where do I need to grow? Which areas of my life do I need to develop? And that can only happen if you are able to really give yourself time to pause and reflect. Give yourself time to pause and look back at your experiences and gain insights from those experiences. So I just wanted to also show you that all these laws that we are talking to you about are actually interconnected somehow, and we need to find a way of implementing them together. You are not going to get benefits if you want to implement them in segregation or by dividing them. So you need to be able to be building up into each law so that eventually you can get the benefits from that. Right? So that was just a brief recap from what Nagib talked about last week. So now let's get into the 5th law, which is the law of consistency. And it says that motivation gets you going and discipline keeps you growing. You know, when you look at it, really, consistency is the key to life. You study successful people, you read their books, you look at their autobiographies, you're going to find that they were very consistent in the way they led their life. They were very consistent in what they do. If you take, before I talk about myself, let me just give you an example about our mentor, John C. Maxwell, who decided many years ago that he is just going to write. And he will tell you that what I do every day, I wake up in the morning, I read, and I write. And then eventually started developing content. So he said, I read, I write, and I develop resources for people to learn from those resources. And one of the reasons why he speaks so eloquently and with that charisma that we all love is because he has been speaking for so many years, and he has been so constant that he has really honed in his speaking craft. But sometimes we look at people like that and say, I wish I could speak like that. I wish I could do like him. And we really underestimate the amount of time and consistency that happened behind the scene to give us the results that we are now seeing. And earlier on, I shared with you that this is one of the most challenging laws based on my experience and based on some of the clients that I've worked in. And one of the areas where I know I have been challenged is in terms of my health, because I am a health freak. And from a very early age, I've chosen the path of living a healthy life. That means exercising, that means eating well. And there are times when I've really been challenged, and especially when I'm traveling, to keep up. But I've always, given myself that task that I am going to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I am going to follow my routine. And I remember when we met in Uganda in July, Nagib asked me, Hannah, what is it that you are doing? Tell me. Every time I meet you, you look younger. Every time I meet you, you look younger. Nagib and I certified the same time in 2014 in Orlando in the John Maxwell team. So we have known each other for quite some times now. And I told him that the only secret is that I am consistent in my health regime, and I've made it part of my purpose to really live a healthy life and inspire other people to actually do the same. So that is what consistency is all about. So you want to look in your life, where do you think you are not being consistent? And I think to drive home this law, I'm going to ask you 4 personal growth questions. So I'm going to ask you 4 personal growth questions, and as we go through this, really think into those questions and see how you can actually apply them and implement them in your life. So the first question that I'm going to ask is, do you know what you need to improve? Do you know what you want to improve? Well, there are so many areas that we can want to improve depending on where you are right now in your life, and it's going to be different for every person. But just to guide you into those areas where you can actually improve is to really look into improving yourself in the area of in the area of your abilities and in the area of your choices. So when you look at your choices, you're going to look at areas like your discipline, your attitude, how you think. So you want to really look into those and see where do you need to improve. And then you want to improve in your area of strength, which is your area of abilities. Those things that you are really gifted at. What are you gifted at that you can really work on and improve? So like I mentioned, this is going to be different for everyone, and it may change over time. So right now for me, what I'm really working on improving is working on my area of giftedness. And I've realized that my giftedness is coaching and speaking, because that's what comes naturally to me. So I'm currently working to hone them, working to take them to the next level. So I want you to pause at this time and really ask yourself, which areas of my life do I need to improve on? Which areas of my life do I need to improve on? And take some time to reflect on at least 3 areas of your life that you need to grow on. After this video, you can go back and really answer those questions and write them down, thrash them out so that they can guide you as you work on your consistency. And then the second question is, do you know how you need to improve? Do you know how you need to improve? Well, there are just many ways in which you can improve. But I think for someone who is starting, it won't be easy. When I started many years ago, I didn't really know, and I haven't read this book, so I kind of was all over, and sometimes learned the hard way. But the good part is you are not going to be doing that, because we are going to be guiding you through this 10 weeks of mentoring and coaching. So we are going to be your guide. So for most people, the first part where they need to improve is to actually acquire knowledge, experience, and coaching. And it's good that this time around you can really get someone to coach you and pay them. When I started in my country, there was no one to do that for me. So I did a lot of reading on my own and I acquired that knowledge. And I think for you, you are fortunate because the fact that you are watching this means that you have already embarked on this process of learning and actually being coached. Being coached. And then the second way in which you can grow is to actually start small, with simple stuff. My mentor Maxwell talks about it, that start small, and he uses an example that you don't want to be like someone who plants their garden the first time, where they plant way too many seeds and then they get way too big garden, and within a month they start casing that garden now because they realize that they've created a lot of work for themselves that they can't cope with. So you want to start really very simple and do it daily. I think the key for consistency is really being able to do something small and do it every single day, without fail. Because that is where you are going to develop your discipline muscle, by being able to do it repeatedly and repeatedly. And then you also need to practice patience, and value the process. We live in an area where we don't really respect the process. We just want very short and quick things. We put food in the microwave before we know it is cooked, when we used to put food in a pot on fire and it took so long to cook. So in order for us to really become consistent, we need to value the process and trust it and see what comes out of it. And then the third one is, do you know why you want to keep improving? And this is what we call the why question. So this one looks at your motives and your life purpose. Why are you doing what you do? Why do you want to become consistent? I gave you my example with my health is because I've realized that my health is the engine behind everything that I do. No matter how much I can try, dreaming big, if my health is on the low side, I'm not going to achieve that. So for me, it's the number one priority, really, is to stay healthy and keep fit so that I can go out there and work on my dreams. And it's important to know your why, because it is your why that keeps you motivated way after the first energy and enthusiasm, wears off. And this is what will carry you through when willpower is not enough. And you may want to take the test, the why test, and ask yourself a number of questions. Ask yourself, do I constantly procrastinate on important tasks? Do I require coaxing to do small chores? Do I perform duties just to get by? Do I constantly talk negatively about my work? Do efforts of friends to encourage me irritate me, instead of encouraging me? Do I start projects and abandon them? Do I avoid self-improvement opportunities? Just ask yourself those questions, and they will really guide you into whether your why is very, very strong. So you want to really hone on in your why, because your why really is what will keep you going when your motivation starts weathering. And I want you to look at the reasons why you do what you do. So come up with a list of maybe about 10 reasons. Why do you do what you do? I'll give you mine. I may not reach 10 because I'm looking at time here. So for me, I like what I do because I make a difference, and I'm still interested in growing. Like I told you, I am gifted in coaching and speaking. I also think it's a calling because I've been doing it from a very early age. I love new challenges. I love to travel, so it gives me to travel. For financial reward, I've got big dreams that needs a lot of money to do them. I want to leave a legacy, and I really enjoy what I do. I love doing what I do. I love working with clients. So those are like my whys. I challenge you to find yours, write them down, write 10 reasons why you really do what you do, or why you need to keep growing. And then the last one is, when are you supposed to improve? the time for you to start improving is now. You want to really know that the time that you become aware that you are falling short somewhere is when you need to start, or the time when you start gaining that awareness that there is something more for you, you can start actually implementing on that. And that is one thing that you have to do. So stop saying, I'm gonna do it someday, because there is no time such as someday. Even if you can look at your calendar or your watch, there is nothing like someday. So you gotta really start and follow through. And also know that life must change. Life change must occur daily. So once you start, take bite-sized action every day, and so that it can propel you forward. And I want to leave you with these questions. Reflect for a few minutes, on those habits that you want to change, on those areas where you need to grow in your life, and get out there and pull on your core muscles and get growing. So thank you so much for the opportunity to guide you in this. I will see you in the platform where we are going to engage, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday as we really go further into this topic, and we discuss with you and with other team members and the participants. So thank you very much for your time.